you can affect the way people view their own journey in life because you've been so introspective.
Joe Rogan has a perspective on life that helps him to stay focused on what matters. He says after losing friends to suicide, he has started to see clearly what he needs to see in life and what worries he can leave behind. Even his very successful podcast isn't something he spends time worrying about because he knows that if he worries about it, the quality of the show will go down because his state isn't in the right frame of mind. Joe also avoids spending time being jealous of others' success.
You have to realize you might have to fight them someday.
Because he knows that jealousy is like a poison to his mind. He shies away from reading social media comments as well because he doesn't have time in his life to devote to people's criticism. He sees no benefit in it, and he knows it will not lead him to any success.
To be able to take their own chances and make their own risks, and the more liberal you are, and the more left-wing you are.
He also looks back at the late Chadwick Boseman and is saddened by the loss of such a great contributor to society. The perspective that he brought was something more people could benefit from, and Joe expressed great sadness on SiriusXM about his loss. Joe Rogan tries to live his life in a way that brings good to those around him, focusing on the positive and helping to bring something good to life and a way of living that can not only benefit himself, but those that see him, and hopefully they will adopt those practices as well to help them have a more successful life.
But it was always like, well, if that sucks, I'll just go back to doing stand-up. I've learned to smell the flowers, and without getting too sad, I've also lost a bunch of friends. I've had 3 friends commit suicide this year, and you just realize what's important and what's not important. There's a lot of things we dwell on that are just nonsense, and this life has a lot of beautiful things to it. There's a lot of it that's great, and I've chosen to spend more time thinking about the good things and thinking about the positive aspects of life and friends and friendship and things that I enjoy doing, like stand-up and podcasts and the UFC, and not being so tense about things. I've worked hard at it. I'm not always good at it. I have my good days and my bad days like everybody else, but I just think I've gotten wiser. At least I've tried. I know the podcast does really well, but what I concentrate on is just trying to do the best show that I can and have fun. And the only way that I can do the best show that I can is to have fun with it. To be prepared, but also to have fun. So that's what I think about. I don't think about like dominating ratings or anything like that, or continuing to do that. Wondering why other people's success, or wondering why other people are successful, is the refuge of losers. It's a loser mentality. It's a loser occupation. It's a loser practice because you're wondering why other people are successful. But to spend time wondering why someone is successful and hating on something successful, it doesn't do any good. It's like, what is that old expression that jealousy, it's a poison that does the opposite of its intended, doesn't affect the other person at all, but it poisons yourself. It wastes your energy and time. I figured out, there's something that I figured out personally, and I try to relay this, and I try to be more clear and more concise the way I relay it. The way I look at it is that your mind, you have a certain amount of bandwidth. This is why I don't read Instagram comments or Twitter comments or YouTube comments. Like, I don't have any time. If I read them, it's an accident. But to seek them out, like, you have bandwidth. I don't spend time wondering why I hate things or hating on someone or being jealous. Let's call it units. You have 100 units of bandwidth in your mind. So that means there's 100 units that you can spend on things you care about, or you could let your mind be occupied. It's like that, losing that guy. And I remember I saw these pictures and videos of him where he was real thin in the past. And I thought maybe he was like doing some radical fasting or something. Like I had no idea. No one had any idea other than his close family that he was sick. But just what an interesting guy, and just what a sad loss. He was so brilliant. Like that speech that he gave, the graduating class speech that he gave, where he's talking about all the things that happened to you are preparing you for your life and preparing you for the great things that can happen to you and how you'll grow from them. Just his perspective. He was just such a brilliant guy. I put on my Instagram a video of him doing Wing Chun, getting ready for the Black Panther movie. When you see a person that it was inspirational for so many. Have you ever seen that video
know, where the Avengers movie, I'll really tear up if I talk about this. And when in the Avengers movie, when there is a video that someone took from the audience, but it's also, there's a state of mind that you only really achieve when you're performing in front of an audience. And you can try to recreate it, but it'll be fake. If you try to do it on your own, like I don't write in joke form. Like I don't write the way I say it on stage. I write in sort of a conceptual form. I write in an essay form, and then I sort of extract things that I think are funny out of that. But they really only find the true way I'm going to do them. I only find that in front of an audience. When I'm in front of an audience, then it becomes clear to me how I should and shouldn't say things based in part on how they're reacting and based in part on how I feel when I'm performing the idea. Like I find where the fat of the bit is, and that's where you kind of appreciate economy of words, and you know what to edit out and what to elaborate on, what people aren't totally understanding, and what maybe is over-explained, and all that stuff kind of comes together in front of an audience.